Dr. Abbas Mansouran from Sweden. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you and hello and thank you for inviting me here in this.
Thank you. So you follow up the developments lately. A video was shared showing that the Turkey used chemical and banned bombs against HPG members in the Zab, Metina, and Avashin regions of the Federal Kurdistan region. In the video shared by the PKK, it is very clearly visible that how the two guerrillas were affected by chemical weapons. Have you watched that video, and what is your initial assessment of these images? What chemical could have been used? How would you going to comment on that?
Yes, thank you. With greetings, first of all, I would like to express my solidarity and my praise for the brave and historical resistance of the people, fighters everywhere in Kurdistan, in every part. Unfortunately, I saw the videos, the pictures, and all the documents, some documents that it very clearly that Turkish authority, Turkish army using the chemical weapons that forbidden, that prohibited chemical weapons, and this is a criminal a crime against the human and humanity and a war crime that the Turkish government is doing. It's not the first time. It's for a long time that they are doing. I can say that's 1992, 95. They have used in 2019 in Sarekani, and now for 6 months ago they are intensively they are using this anti-humanity behavior, chemicals and bombings.
What is the initial assessment of these images? What kind of chemicals have been used, do you think, by watching these videos?
According to my experience, this time Turkey is using maybe it's possibly can be cyclosarin, sarin bombs that Syrian used some in some occasions, and maybe Tuban gas, Tabun gas, and chlorophene and sulfur mustant SM to Tabon, and that's called for example sarin gas GB, and other sulfur mustard that's called HD. That is very very poisonous, that forbidden, that they is paralyzing and cause the respiratory collapse and the nervous system that so it is very very dangerous gas. It's easy to diagnose to find if no need for very very high technology. It's very easy to examine to the victims and the soil, the place, and the remaining of the bombs. We know that the Turkish is producing industries for these kind of bombs. It show in in some opportunities and selling in the market even. It's forbidden.
Thank you. So you mentioned the images and the pictures as well. So these images, photographs, etc., which have made the statements many times in the war that has been going on for 6 months now. So sharing a message, the PKK called on the authorities to take action. The PKK stated that gases such as tabun, chlorophene, and sulfur mustard, as you mentioned as well, so they have been used. However, international institutions remain silent. How do you evaluate this situation now?
Unfortunately, the organization and institutions like United Nations and the Council of the United Nations and other institutions that they pretend that they are for the people, for the human, for the nations, but they are not nation for nations. They are for governments. The United Nations made organized of the government states, not nations, and they are silent because of the government. For example, Turkey is the member of the NATO, and NATO is the NATO members are the most important members of the United Nations. So they have they help each other, and they are silent because of this. They are so this. We cannot have very we ask some say, when I was in Sarakani 2019, we called the United Nations to send a delegation to the area to Sarakani to examine. Even it's difficult for them to travel to Bashur, to Soleimani, or to Howler to examine the victims, but they didn't send. Even the Red Cross, Kurdistan Red Cross, they asked them. They because I was cooperating with Red Cross, and they refused to come to the place and to examine this. They never they help, and as I told you, that's uh, without debt they come they are with their silent they are helping the criminal actions of the Turkish officials.
Thank you, dear Abbas. So the next question is important as well. While the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which is OPCW, ignored all the calls all that time last 1 year, it recently said in a statement that we cannot take action without the application of any state. Which state should apply for this attack, which is already carried out in a partnership with the AKP, MHP, and KDP? What path should be followed to make the OPCW to do these investigations
So
officially?
this is so it's a tragic answer and action and reaction. So it seems that we request the criminals to come to witness against themselves. So it is very comic also to ask the criminals to come to the court and witness against themselves. It's very tragic at the same time, and very comic at the same time. So this organization. The Organization for Prohibition of the Prohibited the Chemical Gas for forbidden chemicals. So they are not a member of the United Nations. As I know, this as I have an answer of this organization of the prohibition of the chemical weapons, OPCW. Uh, so they are not a member of the United Nations, but they parallel. They cooperate with United Nations. They have duty to examine the using of the chemical weapons by some governments and some place, and they can be very helpful to testify that it is a forbidden gas, forbidden chemicals, but they don't. They refuse. They do not their responsibility. Uh, in 20, so it is clear that their silence is as exact as helping the continuation of the criminals to continue the mass killing, the crime against the humanity, and war crime.
So basically, being silent against Turkey's war crimes and using chemical weapons is kind of being in a partnership in the crime, isn't it?
Exactly, I agree with you. It's this. Yes, sure.
Thank you. So next question is, if a war crime is committed and it is proven with the evidence, what more needs to be done for to the competent international institutions to take action? How do you evaluate this attitude of the relevant institutions when everything is so clear and obviously in front of the eyes? What would you like to say about the international authorities?
So I have now very. I am not optimistic for United Nations and other organizations that is the public but I am optimistic of the people's opinion. It's important that there are a millions of freedom lovers, freedom thinkers, and must be called the opinion, the word opinion, to have a tribunal, international tribunals, like in Vietnam War, like other examples. For example, we had in the past, but now it's important that the independent judgments, independent judges, and advocates internationally call for a Den Haag, parallel to Den Haag law, or parallel to the United Nations, to have an international tribunal for the crimes. I have an example. There was a criminal of Iranian torturer that they hanged, executed more than 5,000 of Iranians in prison, prisoners, political prisoners, 1987, I think it was the summer, in prison. He traveled to Iran for to Sweden for 2 years ago. The family of the victims, they asked for help of the independent advocate and judges, and he, as a member of the Iranian authorities, arrested in airport and put in jail, and about 2 years there was a court, and independent court of the Swedish authorities, and he was condemned for life long prisoner imprisonment, jail. But so I mean, because of the he, it was condemned. It was testified that was a war crime, not criminal against the humanity. Despite that, he was a member of the committee that hanged 5,000 of the freedom fighters in Iran in summer, 5,000 in jail. So he's in prison, in Sweden. So if open a file, open a court for the criminals of Turkey by the families, that needs only two witnesses, two three witnesses, to have the documents that this crime is done by these people. For example, Erdogan or the other authorities of the Turkish authorities. So it is enough. We cannot wait for a UN, United Nations, to have a court that maybe never will. So we cannot wait for a Nuremberg court. As
Thank you. So basically, what you're saying is very important. Just to underline it, so do you say that if the victims, the families, has approached to OPCW, will, the OPCW will do these investigations?
we must push, we must have pressure on them. We
Yeah,
must not only OPC, but United Nations,
United Nations
by
as well.
the other courts. We must ask that there are a lot of the freedom lovers, advocates, judges, that they will participate in these humanity measurements, actions.
you. Thank you. So let's ask about the KDP situation as well. KDP, which provided all kinds of intelligence and logistics support to Turkey in the attacks against Zab and Avashin, also seized the gas mask and sent to the HPG against chemical gas and bombs. They also shared what they seized by taking a video. How do you evaluate this situation? Why do you think KDP doing all this against to Kurds and Kurdish freedom movement fighters? Very shortly, please answer that one.
So I hope that they change their actions, their behaviors, because they must look to the history. They have to answer to the Kurdish people, to the people of the area, to the freedom lovers towards people, to why they do this. I think they must review their behavior. So it is a shame if they help the Turkish authorities to kill the people, so such a do a crimes. So I hope that they review, that they change their behavior, and they must one day answer the people, the mothers, brothers, and families of the victims of and the court and the world opinion and the Kurdish people. So I hope they to change, to review their treatments.
You previously conducted on-site investigation into the chemical attacks of the Turkish state in Rojava and documented the use of white phosphorus. What were the findings in the report you prepared at that time? What did you find? Give us little information about your report, but please try to keep it shorter.
Okay, we when I was in Sarakani to help it in the Kamishlu to help the patients, so Turkey attacked the Rojava in Sarakani and Giresun. I went to help the casualties, the people that they need help to for the hospital in Hasake. For the first time, I recognized some patients that's very different. Their wounds were different from the others. So it was sent some samples of the bodies, and there were more than hundreds died of this bomb, these chemical weapons in Switzerland. They found in a laboratory that it was the white phosphorus, and the documents, about 18 pages of reports and videos from victims, from the dead body, from the other the doctors, the group of the witness, and all documents sent to the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations, and was left to the United Nations. But unfortunately, during this this the pandemic stopped the actions, and the international court must be asked for the to review the documents and take measures for this.
Thank you. Lastly, we know that the report you prepared was submitted to the OPCW. Did
Yes.
any results come out of this when you submitted? How do you evaluate the OPCW's stance about that?
Thank you that you remind me this. So this happened. We asked the OPCW to have a meeting, to visit their office. They accepted from the beginning, but after 2 days, when I traveled to Paris to travel to Netherlands, they refused to have a visit. They send a message only that no need to have to meet each other with the group of the physicians and the medical with me, and they didn't accept. They only I asked them, is this? I send all the reports to them, to the document from laboratory, and they wrote for me, they documented a message to me that this phosphorus, white phosphorus, is forbidden according to our measures, our measures. So it was a very good result, but they didn't accept to help us. They only
I
accepted that it is prohibited chemical weapon.
Thank you. That's very important that you said that. But I want to also ask an updated situation, which is for now, are you going to apply to any institution, or are you going to do research in the region, because there is new findings now, and Turkey is, it's visible that they're using that chemical weapon. So what is the next step for you? Are you going to do something about it?
Yes, I as an independent person, as my duty that I promised in my principles to my people, to help those the people that they need my help. It's a responsibility to travel, and I will do it. But there is there is a group of the international medical personnel, doctors, nurses, and researchers that internationally will are going to have a solidarity with the victims, to help and to ask the international institutions to take some measures, actions against this crime, and to find what was the to have the in document to leave to the authorities of the world. I mean, United Nations and everywhere that they need this. So these the measure these actions are ongoing, and so hope to as soon as possible to have some results.
Dr. Abbas Mansouran from Sweden. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments today.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. That I hope that again I send my solidarity to the freedom fighters and the people and the
Thank you.
victims. Thank you.
Thank you.